Hello everyone, welcome for today's presentation that is going to be about teaching through challenges as an experience of learning. For today's session, I'm going to talk to you about my university, resilience in education, the methodology to improve results, and finally approaches and improvements. Since 1653, we are a part of the present and we build the future of our country. A place where your dreams change into projects and your projects become reality. Here, we form exceptional global leaders committed with family, life, and professional thinking. The Rosario University is a place where our experience as an academy, the technology, and the learning approaches articulate with the ecosystem to satisfy and exceed the expectations of our interested parties. Here we produce from the classroom solutions to the world. My name is Carlos Andrés Lobo Gomez and I'm an eternal apprentice, talking about my experiences as an industrial engineer, specialized on administration and management. I'm a professor at the Rosario University since 2020. I teach quality management system, organizational experience, and strategy. I love to serve. That's why I'm here with you. I'm going to talk to you today about my experiences with the students during this period of time. Follow me in this journey that will let you know why we are the best at teaching leaders for a better tomorrow. The university always keep on training us as teachers. Here, English is more than a medium of instruction. It's a way to communicate one to another. Every semester, we can choose a diversity of courses to improve our skills, from mindfulness to simulators use and advanced programming. In our beloved university, the tradition and innovation gather together, and students can learn in an environment that promotes and increases the critical thinking, the analysis from different points of views, and the ethical leadership with social responsibility is what matters the most. Furthermore, we as teachers share a constant and personalized accompaniment to students. From our headquarters through entrepreneurship and innovation, the students can use a variety of spaces and labs where they develop ideas and create abilities to the future. Nowadays, and more than ever, we need to think about resilience. In most of the cases during this pandemic time, you could lose someone of your family, the love of your life, an important person for you, or someone near you. Pitifully, we lost some part of us. In some way, we feel a lack of security, health, and self-confidence. That's why we need to think, talk, and be resilient. Resilience is commonly defined as the ability to return to normal after a difficult situation, to bounce back from the big things. Because of the current situation where people prefer to maintain their cameras off than on, and students take classes from bed at the bus or in a train station, and trying to do a lot of things at the same time, is not so easy for teachers to determine the real intentions of the attendance. That's why from the first time that I thought about how can I correlate my experiences at job, working as a consultant, as a trainer, as an auditor, I started adapting to the classroom in an improvement way the same experiences. So I define that my strategy will be learning by doing, creating a strategy that push my students to interact each other. That was a difficult situation because when I start my classes and I bring some kind of guidelines, I divided them into groups and I was surfing through these groups and I noticed that they continue with the camera off. That was a tough situation. But well, I should push myself to start with this strategy in a better way. And every time when I present in the aula a challenge to be solved, I find a lot of expectations from students and the perfect match between challenge and opportunity. Fostering resilience in education on pandemic time is a mindfulness-based academic development strategy that might reduce the lack of interactions and engagement of students. Resilience is a powerful tool to improve teachers' and students' performance and classroom learning in a virtual environment. Using a challenge as the column of my methodology is a feasible, acceptable, and an effective method to increase communication with interested parties, produce and improve results, challenging constantly students to improve their interactions inside and outside the classroom environment, motivating stronger relationships. In my classes, the learning methodology is based on a practical experience. The real experience is the key. The interaction with a real company transforms ideas into results. That's the way theory will always gonna find a practical application. The company presents us from its current context a practical scenario, a challenge, addressing the real problems of the organization, cases that students can develop for the entire semester. This is going to be in average like 14 classes to full-fledged the results expected. It is a part of my strategy that students should understand, appropriate, and identify variables for the problems. In order to understand the current context very well before formulating any brainstorming idea or proposal, they need to feel that they will be a part of the solution. They make use of design thinking, Lego serious play, growth hacking, among other techniques. It is important to visualize and to start dreaming about the future to be materialized. During the first sessions of my classes, when I'm about to present a project with a company, I show to my students these kind of images. I let that they start dreaming about this kind of storytelling. And I choose maybe one or two or three to tell us about the story. And after that, they start feeling closest to the results expected. And I really like to encourage them to think that they can conquer what they really want. I tell them every time that they can start a crusade, but they need to dream about the final day when the results expected are fulfilled. So they start talking about the images and they start connecting the dots. And I really like this exercise to dream about a future, to dream about a solution. I really like it. So they dream about their roles. They start thinking about the problem, the solutions, maybe about the path that they should cross. And they need to interact as a team to succeed and to obtain the outcomes expected. At the Rosario University, the semester is divided into three cutoffs. Cutoff number one and so on. So, first of all, a representative from the company in a session effort class presents the context, the needs, the expectations, the requirements, and the problem to be solved. After that, students individually should bring an ideation about the topic. They design a diagnosis methodology to understand the context. developing a plan and a schedule or an agenda for these crusades for all of the cutoffs. After that, in another session, I decide the quantity of members to establish not more than 7 teams. Once the teams are created, they share the first part that they've done and define how to improve it, establishing a new version for the assignment. After another review, that results will bring the final version of the roadmap to be followed for the next cutoff number 2 and cutoff number 3. Something that really matters to me is that the students understand that the work should be as a part of the team. And I am both there with them. I think with them. I always communicate with them, asking them if they need something or if they need a guideline, something to improve. I always be there. I always gonna be there with them cooperating. And during the semester, during all the cutoff number 1, number 2, and number 3, I always establish with them a quick win, a faster result, something that push them, that motivate them in order to continue the path. And I really like to increase the challenge to the next level. So for the first cutoff, they might feel that this is not too serious. At this point, for them, this is just another subject to fulfill, something to conquer, something to obtain the requirements, and that's it. But when they notice that company is there with them and that is the company who is in charge of defining the score for the work that they already done, they start thinking different. They assume another role. They are more proactive, they increase the effort, the way they are working together seems to be different, and definitely they work more coherently, focalized, and empowered. Yeah, that's it. I really love that part. They start attending to our labs, asking for more guidance, and during the next cutoffs, the cutoff number 2 and the cutoff number 3, the quality of the deliverables are improved. They stick to the agenda and ask for more and more support. Despite of the fact that I'm involved with the students since the beginning, is there when I start bringing them more strategies. We discuss ideas, we schedule more agenda, we establish more time to spend on about the project, and we talk a lot about possible topics and start thinking about how to produce a simple and an effective solution together. Dreaming together the solutions and about the final deliverable is a good way to begin the journey. We start exploring the problem, playing with Lego, to feel engagement with the issue. We used to apply design thinking to be closer to the variables involved. And through the diagnosis methodology, we can understand in a thorough way the context of the organization. Most of the cases, the students worked beyond expectations. From our experiences, we define that a part of the solution will always going to start with the awareness of the topic. As a part of the challenge, they made paintings, drawing about their visions. So they design as a part of their solutions deliverables for the internal and external interested parties, involving social media resources such as podcasts, videos, landing pages, TikToks, and training themes for the workforce, the community, and the whole ecosystem. They also use the eye tracker to measure the impact of the material they designed. Another interesting idea involved prototypes of their solutions created in our labs. When the semester is ending and the cutoff number 3, which is the final cutoff, is near, the tension appeared. But if the team worked hard and all of them worked as well as they could, everything will be on a schedule and they won't be running at the last moment. The final deliverable will be presented to the company as a pitch. I love that day. The students are so proud of the solutions and I can feel the same. They could go behind the expectation, and as a matter of fact, what really matters behind the scene is not just the results to show, is their commitment with the goal, is the interactions. The members of the team right now are friends, and they support each other, and they are so synchronized that seems to be like a beautiful music and a wonderful piece of art. That's why I am feeling in love of this methodology. My students are feeling closest to the company, and they understand the problem. If they have a clear methodology and they decide how to create a solution step by step, they will find a way to enjoy the challenge, to continue learning by doing, to work well, and to challenge themselves to bring a unique solution. This is a real way to find intersection of challenge and opportunity. Talking about results, we need to focus on data. So let me show to you my results through this kind of a methodology that lets you understand better the impact that we're focusing on improving. In the next video, you will see how our classes started, our attendance presentations, the goals of the session, the students' interactions, and the feedback about the final results for SIMCOL, the university, and from the students.
Buenas tardes, es un placer estar nuevamente con ustedes. Gracias, Carlos, acompañándolos de manera muy grata en esta presentación de cada uno de los grupos.
Comentarios del equipo de SIMCOL.
¿A cuántas personas le hicieron la encuesta para hacer ese análisis? ¿Y qué tipo
100
de población
personas.
usaron?
La población vendría siendo pues muy de nuestra edad, ¿no? Porque pues las compartimos desde pues nosotras, ¿ok?
Muchas gracias. No, es una buena presentación, son unos buenos resultados, es aplicable y no, gracias por el compromiso.
Quisiera conocer de parte de ustedes, mis estudiantes, cómo se sintieron con este ejercicio, qué les pareció.
Pues la verdad, profe, me gustó mucho este reto, esta actividad. Se me hace pues obvio súper valioso el aprendizaje como basado en proyectos, pero se me hace que el plus que tuvo esto es que pudimos recibir la retroalimentación de la empresa como tal. Entonces, aunque estamos aplicando, estamos recibiendo la opinión de alguien que nos dice la propuesta sí es valiosa, sí va encaminada, sí le sirve a una empresa, y así nos damos cuenta que lo que estamos aprendiendo en realidad lo estamos como aprendiendo bien y lo sabemos aplicar. Entonces creo que eso es lo más valioso y pues obviamente todos tus consejos a lo largo de la materia. Y ya, profe, pues muchas gracias.
Bueno, profe, pues yo creo que es muy interesante. Creo que pues ninguno aquí conocía CIEMCOL, pero pues trabajándolo, súper interesante todo lo que hacen. Y pues para nosotros como estudiantes es muy enriquecedor poder llevar a cabo los conocimientos teóricos ya a lo práctico. Y pues con una empresa yo creo que es muy contemporánea a nuestro pensamiento, bueno, sí, de nuestra generación. A ti, profe, gracias por guiarnos en todo el proceso. Siempre estuviste muy atento a lo que necesitáramos. Y pues gracias a los de CIEMCOL también por confiar en nosotros.
La verdad me pareció muy interesante la experiencia, sobre todo yo que tuve la oportunidad de participar en 2 retos, en el de conocimiento verídico, en otra asignatura y también en este de equidad de género. acá en Strategy. Entonces la verdad me pareció una experiencia muy chévere, aprender de nuevas cosas que salen cada día, nuevos emprendimientos, nuevas empresas que son diferentes, pero cada día nos ayudan a aprender sobre muchas más cosas. Entonces la verdad me pareció muy chévere poder ayudarlos y también me pareció muy chévere la ayuda que nos brindó el profesor en todo este proceso.
Sentimos que esta actividad nos aportó muchísimo, o sea, en serio, como cada parte, digamos, a lo largo del semestre nos ibas aportando como un siguiente paso para poder llegar al resultado final, que pues es hoy.
Muy enriquecedora, eh, ya que sentimos que muchas veces en las materias se ve mucho lo teórico y no practicamos nada. Entonces es como que sí aprendí, pero no sé cómo aplicarlo. Entonces en esta materia creo que fue la diferencia y pues los conocimientos que el profe nos dictó al principio, pues los empleamos en este reto y fue desde el principio. Entonces creo que fue una muy buena experiencia, un muy buen curso. Creemos que aprendimos mucho.
Universidad del Rosario, pues por el compromiso establecido también con Sincol en cada uno de los retos que nos propusimos. Realmente los felicito, ha sido un excelente trabajo por cada uno de los grupos. Ha habido compromiso, se muestran resultados, es aplicable los resultados mostrados por cada uno de los grupos. Pues como docentes siempre sabemos que algunos tienen mayor capacidad en la presentación y en el manejo de las temáticas, pero definitivamente felicitaciones, es un muy buen trabajo, ha sido un muy buen trabajo por parte de todos los equipos y pues esperamos seguir a futuro contando con la posibilidad de nuevos retos y nuevas estrategias que nos permitan tanto como empresa y como universidad llegar a acuerdos y logros que nos beneficien mutuamente. Felicitaciones.
On the next video from Organizational Experience Class 2021-2, the challenges that we addressed with SIMCOL, among others, were how could we redesign our social networks and company website so that people who visit us want to access more information about the products and service offered. Another one was how could we position the LabCan brand or research and entrepreneurship group as a distinctive of our company compared to other cannabis companies in the country? Let's take a look at the interactions between teachers, students, and the organization for the final presentation.
Me gustó la experiencia, es algo diferente a lo que normalmente nosotros vemos en la universidad y es algo muy chévere porque es que mientras uno está estudiando, por el hecho de que en un futuro a uno no le van a poner un parcial de decir cómo usted mejoraría la empresa o cosas así, a usted le van a poner es una exposición o le van a poner es hacer este tipo de cosas. De 5 minutos, en 5 minutos usted me tiene que vender su idea y eso es algo que me pareció muy chévere y muy enriquecedora a la hora de hacer esta actividad. Otra cosa que me pareció muy interesante y muy chévere fue la metodología que el profesor hizo, que fue de darnos espacios para que pudiéramos hacer las exposiciones e irnos guiando paso a paso de cómo deberíamos de haberlas hecho. Muchísimas gracias a los de Siemcol que están aquí por lo que nos dijeron para mejorar todos los días, pues uno toca paso a paso.
Los nervios lo traicionan a uno. No pudo haber hecho un muy buen trabajo, pudo haber sido detallado, pudo haber tenido compromiso, pero frente a la presentación los nervios lo traicionan y uno no, en ese momento no le deja ver a las personas a las que uno les está exponiendo todo ese gran trabajo que hay detrás de él. Miren, les digo, lo más importante no es la nota. Lo más importante en cada uno de estos procesos es que cuando uno sabe, cuando se ha trabajado a conciencia, sé con toda la seguridad cómo he hecho mi trabajo y que lo he hecho bien, lleguen tranquilos a hacer la presentación. A veces pensar qué va a pasar y cómo se van a dar las cosas le resta a uno la fuerza y le resta a uno la energía. Muchas cosas en la vida, como dice el profesor Carlos Andrés, no las vamos a poder manejar. La vida no se maneja. No controlamos ni lo que va a pasar, ni cómo va a pasar, ni las personas con las que nos vamos a relacionar, Lo importante es saber en cada uno de los procesos de la vida frente a los que nos vamos a enfrentar que hemos hecho lo mejor, que vamos a dar lo mejor, pero que hay momentos en que, digamos, no lo logramos, pero que siempre, recuérdenlo, podemos hacerlo y vamos a hacerlo mejor cada vez, porque por eso la experiencia te permite en cada momento de la vida crecer. Este es un momento de crecimiento, entonces a todos les digo, adelante, siempre van a poder hacerlo y cuando sientan que algo falla, no importa, hay que volverse a levantar y hay que volver a hacerlo de la mejor manera posible.
The best way to keep going on and evolving the methodology that I design is through new experiences by setting new goals and increasing the impact of the results. That's why for this semester 2022-1, once again, I could have the choice to choose the challenge to work with, and I decided to work with co-subsidio. We also need to define how to support the affiliated worker in the responsibility of caring for the elderly. Another challenge that we're facing is how to structure and propose an educational reinforcement program that enables significant impact and coverage. Adversity doesn't discriminate, and we can face the solution together being resilient, understanding the current situation and thinking as a human being, as a teacher, as someone who can interpret and live with the example of treating others well, leading with passion and serving from the heart. When the time is passing by, I can count a lot of approaches and improvements, which is why I always motivate myself to be capable of motivate my students to understand the company, to address the risks and its issues, the internal context, the external context, and to believe that we are a part of the solution. From previous experiences, it's an important part of this methodology that the company invests time on the classroom, attending the students' questions. A selected person from the company should be there in our classrooms with enough time to bring answers, sharing with them and receiving the results from the students, to be a part of the methodology, to improve together the solutions and interactions with the academy to scale the results. After all, I know that in the way that my students are feeling closest to the company and they understand the problem, if they have a clear methodology and they decide how to create a solution step by step, they will find a way to enjoy the challenge, to continue learning by doing, to work well, and to challenge themselves to bring a unique solution. This is a real way to find intersection of challenge and opportunity. The bibliography. Finally, I want to express to you my gratitude to my family, the university, and my students. Because of them, I keep on learning and moving forward. Resilience is the road. We need to make the difference. We need to think, speak, and act from the resilience. Thank you for joining my presentation.